Oh, well, this feels weird. A video on a Sunday? What is this madness? Well, I'll tell you, this madness is the hashtag Made in Australia Cal 2025, which I was invited to participate in alongside my fellow yarn addicts. Hello, my name is Lee, and I'm a yarnaholic. The goal of this cal is to crochet something Australian themed, and I have the perfect project in mind. You see, a few weeks ago, I was struck with an idea while I was doing a bit of light dusting. I'm sure that was very convincing. And that idea was to turn a sugar glider into a bag. I'm gonna have the RSPCA after me if I phrase it like that. FBI, open up! What I actually mean is to take my sugar glider pattern that I already have and convert it into a backpack. What do you think? This is going to involve me incorporating a zipper into my project, which I've never done before. And I suspect is going to be a little more challenging than I'm anticipating. But you know what? I reckon it's possible. Or possible, as the case may be. Mission possible is go. No, wait, it's not a bloody possum, it's a sugar glider. The pun doesn't work. Idiot. Bugger it, I'm leaving that in. I can't think of a sugar glider pun that's better than that. I've grabbed myself out the yarns that I'm going to need. And before I can begin my not a possum bag, I'm going to have to crochet myself all of the individual pieces. How does the Mission Impossible theme song go? I don't really remember. It's like bum 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 bum, something like that. Bum 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 bum. I feel like I'm less like Scientology's poster boy and more Kronk from The Emperor's New Groove. I don't really remember how this goes. Get excited because I have finished all the pieces of my sugar glider. Well, with the exception of the backpack straps, but I'm going to crochet those at the end. The next step in this process was going to be to line the bag and then add the zipper. I don't know if I'm going to line this. Full disclosure, I have never done that before, combining sewing and crochet. And I don't know how straightforward a process it will be, especially taking into consideration the fact that this is the shape I'm working with. If it was just a square or rectangle, I might be a little bit more confident in attempting it, but working with this shape, I don't know if that's a good place to start. I just think this shape is going to cause me more problems that I want to deal with at the moment. So for now, I'm going to put lining the backpack on the back burner, and I'm just going to jump ahead to the adding the zipper stage. There's also another thing I need to mention before we carry on here, and that is for a couple of these pieces, the tail and the head specifically, I worked in the back loop only for the grey portion of these patterns. And the reason I did that is because I'm considering making this a furry backpack. Some of you may recall a couple of months ago now, I worked with faux fur yarn for the first time, and I hated it, and I vowed never to crochet amigurumi out of that again. And I stand by that vow. I'm not going to crochet amigurumi entirely from faux fur yarn. However, there is a project that I'm currently working on for which I need a bit of yarn to create like a furry accent, just a little bit of trim around a specific part of it. I needed this yarn to be white because my plan is to dye it. I want it to be nice and colourful. This particular yarn that I ordered just had sort of neutral shades to choose from, so I thought, hey, let's get some white, let's dye that, it'll work perfectly. So they sent me grey, and I was like, I have no use for this. What am I going to do? But then I decided to make this project, and I thought, I could add fur to this sugar glider. So that's what I'm going to try to do. I've left the back loops free so I could work into those, which will hopefully make the process of working with this yarn a hell of a lot easier. And then I'm probably going to work through just the space between the stitches for the back and the legs here. I bring this up now, but it's not a step that I'm going to undertake until the bag is assembled. I just wanted you all to know that that's what I have planned, just in case you were wondering like why my pieces look kind of weird, why I left the front loops exposed. There is a reason for that. But before we get to that, we must add the zipper. Wish me luck on this one. I've never done this before. I don't know how it's going to work out, but I'm game to try. Let's go. Let's do this. Got the craft collection stacked up here, and my zips are in there. So give me a moment while I get this out. Zips acquired. This is surprisingly heavy, this container. That's probably because it's bloody full. This is what happens when your family know that they can just dump all their craft supplies on you. So I have no shortage of zips to choose from. The only issue will be finding one that's the correct size. So let me get out my piece here. You know what? I'm really debating whether or not I should try the lining. Like, I don't think so. I think that's going to put me well behind schedule. And if this was just me doing this project, I think that would be fine. I would take my time, but I am on a bit of a deadline, and I'm not going to let everybody else who's doing this collaboration down, because I ended up being like a week late because I was too busy faffing about with bits of fabric to finish my project. I will try it at some point, just not in this project. Is that one, that might be a bit small. That can go in the maybe pile. I think I need one that's probably about 2 or 3 centimeters longer than that. What are you? No, you're gonna be too long. You're gonna be way too long. I think if I'm remembering right, you can resize zips. You just have to create like an additional stopper. I think. Do not quote me on that. This is not craft advice. That's a good size in width, but definitely not in length. Narrowed it down to 2 choices. I have this wider zip that is much too long that I could potentially resize, and I have this smaller zip which would fit without the need for like alterations, but I think it might be a bit small, a bit too narrow. I don't know, especially because I'm gonna have to curve it around the legs. I think this just might be too short. So I need to resize this zip, and I don't really know how to do that, so I might have to pause here and watch a couple of YouTube tutorials and then see if I can make it work. Because if I can't make it work, I don't know what else I'm going to use on this backpack. Maybe some buttons, but I doubt that's going to be very secure. I am a student of the University of YouTube, so let's see if they have some zipper resizing classes available. So I think I was right that you can just sew to create like a new stopping point. Apparently you can take craft advice from me. Now that I know that for certain, I'm going to measure and shorten my zipper and then come sewing it in. Step 1, figure out how long I want this bloody thing to be. Roughly 18 centimeters. And then I measure 18 centimeters. And then I need, I don't know that this is going to be visible on a black zipper. Sewing needle. I've whip stitched now 12 times. The tutorial I watched said to do 10, but I thought I'd do 2 extra just in case. But before I finish off, I think I'm going to test this thing because I don't want to put it on my sugar glider only to find out that I haven't done the zipper correctly. So let's give that a whirl. Well, it stops the zipper, it does what it's supposed to do, so I can finish off now. Just have to tie this off at the back. And then I just need to cut the zip itself. I don't know how easy this is going to be honest. I mean, hopefully I don't have to break out the heavy machinery for this one. But if I bring this close, I need to leave about 1 centimeter or so. And I just cut. Oh, that was simple. Nice. Love it when things are simple. The next step though may not be so simple. I need to now sew this in between these. And I don't really know how to do that. Do I sew it like wrong size together and then flip the zip out? Or do I just place the zip underneath, so the right side of the zip with the wrong side of the body piece, and then like top stitch along there? That's the way I'm sort of thinking of doing it, but then that leaves like the ugly ends of the rows exposed. How do I fix this one? Maybe I could, because after the zip's installed, I'm going to single crochet these 2 pieces together for the remaining sides. But maybe before I even start doing that, I can just single crochet around the top, the portion where I'm going to be attaching the zip. So if I single crocheted from this point down, across, and then back up, that might give me a neat finish to work with the zip. But then I would just carry on those single crochet around the rest of the piece when I'm joining them together. Now comes the part I'm dreading the most. I've got to sew in this zip. In order to get that done, I'm gonna have to make some space for the sewing machine. And I'm probably gonna have to thread the bobbin and all that fun stuff. I haven't used the sewing machine in a while, so this should be fun. I think I got it done. I think that's right. That wasn't. But before I begin sewing my sugar glider, I am going to grab out a bit of scrap fabric and just do a few test stitches. I just wanted to test that I'd threaded the sewing machine correctly, which it appears I have done. But I'm now wondering if can you stay in please? But I'm now wondering if I should perhaps do another test on a crochet swatch, because I've never used a sewing machine on crochet before, and I have no idea how the cotton, the needle, is going to interact with the crochet stitches. I mean, I might sew across it and they'll just pull straight out. It may be a case that I need to adjust my stitches on the sewing machine. So that might be a good idea. That at least seems nice and secure. I don't think if I did it on these stitches that they're going to come undone. So now that I've done those couple of little tests, I am feeling slightly more confident, but the step before that is going to be to attach or pin the zipper to these pieces. I grabbed out my clips. I reckon these might be easier to use in this context than pins would be. So this is what I'm thinking. I'm going to fold the zip in half. So I know that's roughly the midpoint there. So I want to pin that to the grey part. That's what I've got. I think if I sew that, and after that's sewn, I then attach it to the second piece and sew that, that could work. I think that might work. We're gonna have to work this one out so I can see what I'm doing, but you guys can also see what's going on. So if I put it there, you can see that all right, I think. Wish me luck, wish me luck. Moment of truth, let's go. And then, hang on, we need to go back. And then go. I'm just going to do this really slowly. No need to rush and get ahead of myself. Make sure the zipper stays under there at like approximately the same distance, or the crochet is the same distance from the zip. And we got a slight bend coming up, so slow down a bit. And we can move you now. All right, make sure that we're. Oh, I think I got a little bit further away there. Maybe I should have left that whatchamacallit clip in. I just want to move you under a little bit. Okay, back it up a little bit there, I think, but I will carry on and go. Oh yeah, I know. Sorry, I forgot to put the foot down. Yes, I know. All right, go. Yeah, that's moved. That's moved quite a bit. All right, attempt 1, bit of a failure, but I know where I went wrong. So I'm going to unpick this and then we're going to do attempt 2. Using more clips this time, hopefully that will help. And I'm not going to remove them this time until the last possible second. Attempt number 2, here we go. Alright, we're up to the end. I don't know if I've managed to catch the zipper or if I've just worked through the crochet, because there was a bit of movement, unfortunately. My sewing is very wonky and I did manage to miss this part. Is that focusing? This part here. I don't know if I should unpick the whole thing or if I should just go back in and put some stitches across there. That might be the easier thing to do. Look, it might be a little bit cheaty, a little bit not done, but I'm just going to go back in and do some more stitches here to hopefully secure this part of the zip. To all the sewers, I apologize that you had to witness that. It may not be pretty, but it functions. At this stage, we still need to attach the second piece. I think I did a better job on the second one than I did the first. And now comes the real test. Will these two pieces, hang on, the real test will come after I get rid of this cotton. Because the last thing I need is for that to get jammed in the zip. All right, 3, 2, 1. It works! It's ugly, but it works! Now that what I suspected would be the most difficult part of this project, or at least the most intimidating, maybe intimidating is the better word, but now that that's done, I'm going to hold my pieces together and then single crochet the two sides together. I just realized something. I made an incredibly stupid mistake. I attached the zip to this section when I was supposed to attach it to the section that I crocheted over. Just why? I crocheted over this part for a reason. That is so frustrating. Why didn't I notice that? Why didn't I notice that? You know, I think I was so preoccupied and focusing so much on the zip and trying to get that right that I was less focused on the crochet. And she's done. Is it pretty? No. Is it functional? That remains to be seen. But am I pleased with the results? I would say for it being my first attempt at doing this, and taking into consideration that I was working with a kind of funky shape, I would say yes. Maybe not a full yes, but maybe like 90% yes. I'm happy enough with it for the moment. And look. Technically, I think you can call that a bag. But now that the bag itself is constructed, I want to start assembling all the other pieces. So I'm going to take what I've got, the head. There's really not all that much. The head, the ears, and the tail. And I'm going to sew those on. The little toes, the little pink toes on the end of the sugar glider, they are just crocheted directly off the body. So I will do that as well. And then, if I can be bothered, if I want to deal with it, I will add the grey fur yarn. Toes are done. I've got to weave in these ends, but my next step is going to be to crochet the straps. I want to try a stitch that I've never used before, but I've read it's really good or pretty good for creating bag straps and the like, and that is called the thermal stitch. I have made both of the straps. The thermal stitch actually crocheted up really well. Now I'm interested in finding out how well it functions as an actual strap, what the stretch of it is like. But as for the crocheting portion, 10 out of 10, would recommend. But with those out of the way, I could now attach them to my sugar glider, but it might be easier if I attached all the details and crocheted on the horrible faux fur yarn first, just because these could potentially get in the way of that. And I want to make this as easy on myself as I possibly can. Punk rock sugar glider. I'm using the loop stitch to then cut and brush to create fur, but this just looks like a mohawk, and I love it. It is done. I have finished my Not a Possum sugar glider backpack, and I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled with how this turned out. Despite a few hiccups trying to put the zipper in, I've really come to love this project. I'm gonna stop teasing you now and show you what it looks like. Yeah, let me do this. This might be a bad idea. I was gonna like spring up enthusiastically and surprise you, but I am not physically capable of doing that. All right, are we ready? This is my springing up enthusiastically. Oh. There she is. Show off the tail. I was genuinely not prepared for this project to come together as well as it has. Something had to go wrong. I was sure something had to go really wrong. And yeah, there were a few hurdles along the way, but all in all, my bag is awesome, I think. I really like it. Just everything seemed to come together. The strap, the thermal stitch, I really like this stitch. I'm going to definitely utilize that in the future. The one caveat I have with that at the moment is this by itself is not really that heavy, and given the size of the bag, it's pretty small. I'm not going to be able to place too many things in it, and so I can't really test the stretch or the effect the stretch will have on these straps. So maybe one day in the future, that's another project I can undertake. But for this bag, it's worked out absolutely fine. The second thing that kind of took me by surprise was how well the faux fur yarn worked in conjunction with the amigurumi parts. As I mentioned earlier in this video, my only previous experience with faux fur yarn was attempting to crochet a wombat out of it, and I absolutely hated that experience. Working with just the faux fur yarn was a nightmare. Would not recommend doing that. But in this case, working with the faux fur yarn, while still, to be honest, a bit of a pain in the ass, crocheting it directly onto an already existing amigurumi piece was much easier. The only other thing that kind of gave me trouble was the zipper. This was my first attempt at including a zipper in a crochet project. Should I have done that with a square or rectangle project? Probably it would have made the process much simpler, I think. But despite a couple of minor errors which I had to undo, I think I did okay. The zip is functional. And at this point, I'm not even getting any of the faux fur yarn stuck in the zipper, which was a concern. But no, it works fine. The sewing is definitely ugly. Very, very ugly, actually. But I'm going to give myself a pass on that one because it was my first time doing this, and I was working with kind of an awkward shape. Another thing that I actually changed from my sort of original design was I went ahead and added white fur to the face as well. I was initially just going to leave that bare, so just the crocheted stitches of the amigurumi would be showing. But once I finished adding the grey portion of the faux fur yarn, it just honestly looked really silly. So I thought, you know what, I'll add in a bit of the white faux fur yarn that I have, which was the original colour I wanted in the first place, if you'll remember that story from the beginning of the video. And it majorly improved how the sugar glider looked. So I'm glad I went that route in the end, even if it meant I had to struggle with the faux fur yarn for that bit longer. And for the black portions, so the end of the tail and the little stripe down the middle here, I did not have faux fur yarn in that colours, and I certainly wasn't buying any. So to get the faux fur effect on these pieces, I just went in and crocheted across the surface of them using the loop stitch. I then cut the loop stitch and then brushed it out with a pet brush. This thing, it turned out so cute. I didn't bring the original sugar glider over with me, but something about the addition of the faux fur yarn just ups the adorableness factor of the sugar glider, I think. If I wasn't so averse to faux fur yarn, I might even try crocheting myself an amigurumi version with it, just because it's so damn cute. But no, not putting myself through that torture. And I don't have... That's one downside to using all this faux fur. It flies everywhere and it doesn't taste very pleasant. And that's about all I had to cover. So that is my project, my complete project for the Made in Australia Cal 2025. I really need to put something in this little bag to test the weight capacity. I have a sneaking suspicion it's not going to be very much. But now that my video is finished, please make sure you go and check out everybody else's video who participated in this cal. All of their links will be down in the description. But before you go ahead and jump to their videos, we do need to do... And today's featured creator on the hookup, I'm going to apologize in advance if I pronounce this incorrectly, but our featured creator is Rivqyah, or Rivqyah, and she says, I love crochet, sewing, resin, and clay. Another short and sweet hookup segment. If you would like to check out all of her links, they will be down in the description, and so will a link to a hookup form if you would like to apply for yourself. Anything else to add before we go, Sugar Glider? Is that a no or a yes? I couldn't tell. Well, I do. I've got one more thing to add, and that is to say a huge thank you to Litza from Coco's Crochet for organising this cal. I thoroughly enjoyed the experience, so thank you for that. Once again, make sure you go and check out everybody else's cal video. All the links are down in the description. Consider subscribing if you haven't already. Like the video if you enjoyed it, share it if you think it's worth sharing, and I will see you in the next one. Do the sugar glider. The sugar glider glide. Now that I'm actually remembering it's a sugar glider and not a possum.